Hey everybody, it's your boy Big L. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to check out this video. Um, so I wanted to jump in real quickly. I'm going to try to make this short, try to make sure I can get through this before I reach my destination. So I want to talk about um, the red pill, and does it keep people lonely, and is it really a net negative? I'm going to put up a screenshot of a platform that I was on. I really enjoyed the platform, DBDS, Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters. They asked me to come on and onto their platform and really kind of talk about, my thoughts about the red pill. And the name of the show is Why the Red Pill Should Go Away. And I was one advocating for the red pill space. And the reason, I'm going to give a couple of reasons why I don't think the red pill space should go away, or the manosphere and all that. My advocation is for the professionalization of the space. In other words, I think that these people who are just out there just talking, feeding bad information, wrong information, should be limited, and that good information from people with knowledge, experience, life experience, knowledge, academic credentials, business leaders, business owners, thought leaders like that should really take over the space, because I think that there's room to grow, there's a need for it, and that there's a serious problem going on with men. And if you're not familiar with a couple of people that I'm going to suggest, right? One is T. Hassan Johnson, talks about, and he's got a book out. Forgive me, I don't know if I may screenshot the name of the book and put it up here. I do have the book. I haven't read it yet, but I plan to get to it very soon. Anyway, T. Hassan Johnson talks about the plight of men, in particular black men. Another guy, Richard Reeves, another book I have that I read a couple of chapters of it, have not finished it. I got so many other things going on. I had to create some classes and all this kind of stuff. So I just haven't had a chance to sit down and really get to it. But those are two books that I really would highly recommend. And they talk about the plight of what's going on with men and with boys. And so in response to much of the feminism, there has been a space called the red pill. If you're unfamiliar with that, the red pill is a space, and I'm kind of linking these two, red pill and manosphere. They may not be exactly interchangeable, but I'm going to link them for the sake of brevity and all that. So this space, the red pill, stands for, if you watch The Matrix, and again, I don't care what anybody says, those movies were not as good as everybody said they were. It was good as far as helping you realize the red pill versus the blue pill. The red pill being a symbolism of looking at the world through the way that it actually is, and the blue pill being living in kind of a la land, being overly optimistic, and not really seeing the world the way that it is. So it really just depends on, whether you're optimist or pessimist, how you really want to see the world. And I think that the red pill is a positive because it helps men. In particular, it can help anyone, men or women, but in particular, I think it helps men to wake up and see the way that the world really is. And this is why when I did the video about marriage, I talked about, what the realities are. And some people didn't like it. They thought it was toxic, and whatever. People have their own opinions and all that. However, you have to be real about the way the world really works, and that's the way that I approach it. I approach the world based on the way that it is, not my ideation, not my ideology, not the way I want it to be. I don't live in fantasy land. I don't live in fantasy world. I really got to pay bills. I really got to pay taxes. I really can't drive fast, or otherwise I risk, hurting myself and any other passenger in my car. I have to embrace the world the way that it is, and I can have an optimistic outlook that we can change things. That's why I'm doing these videos, because I have an optimistic view on the way that the world could be and what we could change it to. And I recognize that human nature says we can't change everyone, but we can certainly make a difference in certain people's lives, and that's what I'm trying to do. So that is the red pill. So why don't I think it should go away? The red pill, in my estimation, should not go away because it helps men to understand the way that the world works. And without that understanding, you can walk through life with your head in the clouds and making terrible decisions and not understanding the repercussions of those decisions. This is why I talked about, the divorce situation as it exists in America. I'm not saying that I don't, I'm not saying, I never said that I was against marriage in particular. I'm against it in the way that it's conducted in the West, and I'm saying that that there's a problem with that, and we have to look at the laws and the incentives for individuals to break that contract. That's what I'm saying we should take a look at. I certainly believe that you should have an ace, right? This person you can depend on and love on and all that. And companionship is important. I certainly believe that and want that. I certainly want that. So that's one of the reasons I don't think the red pill space, because it helps, should go away, is because it helps men to understand the way that the world works, and it gives a net positive to that. When I went through divorce and got back in the dating scene, right? You can, without the help of the red pill space and people kind of putting me on to the way that the world is, and yes, the way that the female nature works, you can understand that. This isn't about male or female, but I mean, you got to understand the way the men work. A woman who's interested in men has to understand how they think. If you want to date them and be married to them, you got to understand how they think. And we're so diametrically opposed to each other, or so different, that the diametrically opposed is probably the wrong phrase, but we're so different that we tend to be solipsistic, and that means that you see the world through your eyes, and you have a complete elimination to the way that the way that the world thinks. And one of the biggest things that I think that ladies should take the red pill as well. And here's what I mean by that. One of the biggest things that ladies, I think, really don't understand is the way that they look at the world. And this isn't a positive or negative, so don't get in my comments saying I'm bashing women or whatever, because I'm not doing that at all. They look at the world and say, and they say, this is what I think is important in a relationship. I think what's important to a relationship is that financial stability, or the ability to create financial resources, and to be, a leader and all this type of stuff, right? So those are things that they think are essential in a mate. Never realizing, and so therefore, but those are their mating strategies, and that's what they are looking for in a man. Men are not in particular, competent, well-adjusted, healed, wholesome, productive men are not looking for those qualities in a woman. And this is difficult to understand. Whenever you meet somebody and they're like, oh, okay, what do you bring to the table? What do you offer to a man? What is a man looking for? And you ask them all these different types of things. They're often lost, right? And you ask them what they bring. Well, listen, I'm college educated. I got my own business. I own a house. I own a car. Those things to a productive man who has his own house, car, 401k, business, multiple businesses, is not impressed by any of that. And this seems to be a really big stumbling block. I continue to hear this. I continue to hear in different podcasts and blogs that I read. I continue to hear this. And this is important to me because, like I said, I have kids who want to get into this world or want to date or whatever seriously. And myself returning to this, right? That's why I'm meeting people and they're telling me this. I got this going on, I got that going on. I'm like, okay, and I would ask them, okay, you know how to cook, right? I can't tell you how many dates I've been on. I can't tell you how many dates I've been on, and they were like, I don't know how to cook. Okay, and it may seem difficult to understand that men are looking for something completely different. And it is definitely true that the times have changed, and that the ladies have changed, and I guess they call it the high heel effect, that they moved up. But that doesn't mean that men are looking for anything different. You may be looking for something different. You may have been unlocked, rightfully so, from the chains of the kitchen or whatever. But that doesn't mean that a man I'm still looking for a nurturing, home caring, providing type of individual. That's what I'm looking for. So we can have a conversation, we can have a good time with, and yes, who can cook and manage a house. And listen, I can cook. I've cooked for multiple. I cook for ladies, right? I cook for my kids. My kids come over. They eat. I live by myself. I gotta eat. I'm wasting my money going out every single day. So you got to be able to look at the world in that way. So the red pill really helps people to understand the way that the world is, not the way that you want it to be. I want men to be more emotionally available. I want men to do this, that, and the other. I want all these different types of things. That's not the way that men are. And I've talked about this in other videos. I'm not exactly sure that women really want that, because I know that the moment a man opens up, the ladies are generally done. So I don't think that the red pill should go away for that particular thing. Now there's this idea, and I'm trying to wrap my head completely around. What are you doing? I'm trying to wrap my head completely around this idea of the manosphere being targeted by Homeland Security and all this type of stuff. Now I've looked for those different lists, watch lists, and all that. I've looked for them. I know that people have said that they exist and all that. So if anybody has those lists, please send it to me, because I've looked for it. And I'm not doubting that there's being watched and stuff. Ironically, what I did was I looked at a couple of different articles or blogs. I'll put the screenshots up here of the top 10 most popular themes on YouTube. Because I'm like, man, why is everybody so concerned about relationships? And relationships and even top 10 things that people are looking at. So, I'm not exactly sure, where we're getting all this information from and all that. So I'm not exactly sure. But I think it's interesting. So listen, but let me just say, I'm not in favor of misogynistic, hate speech, bashing women, advocating for violence. I'm not in favor of any of that type of stuff. And certainly, as a former police officer, right, and I teach, and I've taken Homeland for my doctorate. I had to take Homeland Security classes, a couple of them, right, and looking at terrorist groups, the violent threat groups, threat groups. Domestic threat groups, violent threat groups, all kind of different names for them, all mean the same thing, domestic terror. So I had to research all that, right? So I'm definitely, I'm definitely aware of the potential problems of this. But listen, man, but there are positives that the red pill it can help wake you up, and it can help you realize what's going on, so you don't get taken advantage of financially in the courts. You don't get financially taken advantage of on dates when you get ghosted. It can help you understand what's really going on, the nature and the culture of the thing. And I don't think it should become a religion. Now, what do I mean by religion, right? Where you always gotta, right? If you're a man and you're constantly just paying attention to that for a lifetime, I think maybe 2 years, depending on you and what you need and all that, it can be very, very therapeutic. Because I know when I was going through this stuff, I'm like, man, what's up? What's up with my game? I can't, I can't attract these ladies and stuff, right? Dating apps. I'm going to do something about dating apps. Like, what's up? So it helped me to understand that I wasn't the only one going through this. Men tend to be very solitary. A lot of men tend to be very solitary. Don't have the right relationships for whatever reasons, and no, we're not broken, just the way that we are. So therefore, it becomes easier for us to fall in line and to listen to, not fall in line, but to listen to other people who are going through these types of things. Therefore, you find the manosphere, you find different content on YouTube and Rumble and other places that are singing your song, and you can understand it. Now, is there a potential for it to become dangerous, misogynistic, hateful, an incubator for bitterness? Absolutely. So you got to watch that. You got to watch the content that you listen to. Just like food, you got to watch what you put in your body. You got to watch the company that you keep. You got to watch all that. And if you find yourself becoming bitter, angry, always mad at women, and you can't talk to them without lashing out, if in the moment you try to get somebody's number at a gym or at a restaurant, and if she turns you down, even if she does it politely, you just snap off, and you find yourself putting vitriolic stuff in YouTube posts, comment section, and Facebook and Instagram. You need to check yourself. Yeah, you need to check that. You need to check that. Um, Tupac said it best. We got a name from a woman, got a game from a woman, and we shouldn't hate our women. We shouldn't do that. Now, have things changed and have because of different things? Have things they become unpalatable? Yeah, okay. So you keep it moving and keep it pushing from those different types of individuals. But this bitterness, this anger, this hatred, this vitriol, this negativity, no, that's not it, man. That's not it. So I would use the red pill to wake myself up from the slumber that we've been going through, to recognize that this is a different time, different generation. And if you're a young man, you don't know any difference, but you got to understand what's going on out here, and the ghosting and the OnlyFans, and you got to pay my rent if you be my boyfriend, and pay my buy my kids some food for our first date, and buy me and what used to be flowers, now you got to get their hair, nails, and makeup done for our first date. Listen, red pill's going to help you to solve those kind of issues. Red pill might help you to become right, convince you to become monk. SYSBM, save yourself, black men. Men going your own way. It might help you to do all those types of things. But you don't have to become a completely negative, bitter person. It really should help you to recognize what it is, what the world is, and then get out there and function in the world and move accordingly. And if you find yourself unable to keep a job, unable to associate with family and friends, and become bitter all the time, you gotta check that. You gotta check that. You gotta check that, right? You cannot let it foster and fester in your mind and become this negative Nelly and completely negative person who is angry at the world, and particularly angry at women. That is unhealthy and unacceptable. It's unhealthy and unacceptable, right? But yes, there is a certain place where it can become good. I think I think the same thing about anything. Too much of anything can be a bad thing. You know, if you're a religious type of person, you have a real good strong faith in God or whatever, I think that's fine. But when you become a zealot and you're willing to hurt other people in the cause of your religious ideologies, it becomes a problem. If you are moving away from and moving toward anger, bitterness, hatred, away from family, away from friends, away from good times or cookouts, picnics, family functions, you find yourself doing it, you got to check that. You need a wake-up call, and let this be a wake-up call to you to recognize where you are. There's no need to attack people. There's no need to attack anyone, a woman, a man. There's no need to attack these people. Just move accordingly. I'm not going to get all mad and just be like, oh, whatever. Okay, listen. This is the environment. This is what it is. And fortunately, we're in a different place now where we can just ignore it. We can just, all right, I'm just going to ignore you. I'm not going to deal with that. I'm going to ignore you and ignore this environment. I'm not going to participate. I'm going to go on vacation. I'm going to work my job. I'm going to stay home and play video games. Or I'm going to travel the world. You can choose to do something else because you may want a family, you may want a wife, but if the environment is not conducive to the things that you want, then you can fight to change the environment through legal means, through petitions, surveys, advocating for men's rights, and the red pill can be good for organizing those types of things. But all that. So I think I said this enough. I tried to make this as good as possible. So I would highly the panel that I was on, it was good. They were quite surprised that I was gonna go the way that I did, and they actually agreed with. There was nothing they could say that said that I was wrong about my philosophy about what the red pill is. Professionalize the space. Stop listening to clownish people who have no life experience or keep themselves miserable or don't really mean what they say. You got to watch the clickbaits and all that kind of stuff, right? So you got to watch that stuff and really try to make sure that you watch what you put into your mind and into your body physically, as far as food and as far as your mind. That really means a lot. So you got to watch these types of people who would have you running around here, thinking that every woman should be at your beck and call and underneath your foot. That is absolutely insane. that is absolutely insane way for people to think. So let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Do you know anyone who's going down the wrong path with the red pill manosphere type of stuff? And are you trying to pull them back as a man? And do you think no, it's all bad? Just manosphere should just go away. We should talk about it. It is what it is. I do think that. Let me just end off with this. I do think that it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I think that a lot of the times ladies will say, and I wrote a Medium blog about this. I think a lot of times, I think I did. Um, 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 they don't like the red pill because they don't like men being woken up, because they want free food, free dates, pay for my nails, pay for this, pay for that. Right? But there is a problem that's going on with men. There's a serious problem going on with men, and black men in particular. Our boys are reading. 10% of our boys can read a grade level. It's almost child abuse at this time. It's almost child abuse at this time, that we know that there's a problem with our boys, and nobody's doing anything about it. Not in no to no large degree. No educators, our politicians. What's going on? What's going on with that, right? Nobody else would allow that. Would allow their 10% of their graduating boys to be able to read a grade level. This is a problem. This is a problem, and it's almost child abuse and neglect. Back in the days, they used to talk about taking the United States to the UN for civil rights violations and human rights violations. It's almost. I think it's almost time. It may almost be time for that again. 10% of the U.S. population of American black boys can't read at grade level. We're continuing to put on them this idea that they got to behave a certain way in the classroom, knowing that boys are more rambunctious, more hyper, and they like to be more tactile and move around and stuff, and that's a better way for them to learn. Knowing that, and still going to make them sit down and suspend them when they're doing the same thing that other kids of other races and other genders are doing for the same type of stuff. We've got all these different studies about eye tracking. Male or teachers watch young black kids more than they watch other kids, right? We got all this implicit bias against us, right? So men are suffering, and we need we need to talk about it and need a space. They're checking out of the workforce, checking out of colleges. They don't think that they think too much feminism is being pushed, and this is what they're saying. It's not me just making this up, right? Too much advocacy for girls, prioritizing them over boys. It's time to prioritize boys, and it's not just me just saying that. There's other really, really smart people, and I've quoted Richard Reeves, Tia Son Johnson, and others. There's others. Scott Galloway. They're all advocating for boys and men to get us off the couch and to stop being slowful. And I think that if anybody ought to get behind this, it ought to be the ladies, because if you want viable husbands, maybe not for yourself, maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, but if you want your nieces and daughters and stuff to have husbands, you got to push the boys. Especially if girls generally, ladies generally say, I want a man who's a protector, provider, makes more money than me, taller than me, all these different stuff that you want a man to be better than you, taller than you, make more money, be more dominant, be a leader. You got to make them. You got to make them. All right, I made this way too long than I want to be. I want it to be just 10 minutes. It's 24 minutes at this point. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions. Hit me up in the comment section. Do you agree, disagree? Is the red pill space keeping men single? Is it helping, hurting? What's going on with this? And how do we fix it? Should it completely be eliminated, or should we make the adjustments that I said, as far as make professionalizing the space, making sure smart people are really kind of leading it. And I don't know what we do, whether we eliminate the other. And I keep hearing this. We're going to eliminate. The people are pushing back against this. We want to eliminate, take these people off of YouTube, stop their blogs and all this kind of stuff. But I haven't read it. I've heard other people talk about it, but I haven't read it. I look for this stuff about the Homeland Security watch list that some people are supposedly on. I'm looking for it. So if you know where it is, send it to me. I went to Homeland Security website. I couldn't find it. So in FBI website. I couldn't find either one. So, all right, much love and peace. I got to go.